Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a pretty interesting core breaker that I found in the Retro Cup meta, and that is Shadow Gyarados. Over the weekend, you were able to evolve your Shadow Magikarps, or regular Magikarps for that matter, into Gyarados for it to get access to the featured legacy move of Aqua Tail, and that's a necessity if you're going to run this Pokemon in the Go Battle League. That being said, Gyarados can do a fair bit of core breaking, as not being a dragon type itself but running Dragon Breath means that it has a lot of play into the Dragon Breath users that are largely dragon types in the Retro Cup, and it has access to Crunch to hit back for the ever-present Oranguru. With that being said, I won't keep you too much longer, let's just hop into the matches. We're going to be kicking things off with game number 1, Cresselia leading into a Shadow Girafarig, and Shadow Girafarig is indeed a menace in this cup, as Confusion Psychic type goes largely unresisted in this cup, because the only thing that can resist Psychic type damage in this cup are Psychic types. Anyway, they are going to fire off a Trailblaze that does do a solid amount of damage onto the Cresselia, but Cresselia has a lot of play into the other Psychics in this cup, and it does do fairly well into the copious amount of rollout users you'll see as well. So we are going to fire off Grass Knot number 2. Girafarig, if there's one thing they know what to do, it is shield up the Girafarig. So we are just going to let this Girafarig user be a Girafarig user. We'll take our shield advantage and come in with the Shadow Gyarados. We're going to get that farm down. They land one Confusion onto our Gyarados. We see the Charjabug. We're going to switch out immediately into the Quagsire, but they're going to switch out into their Diggersby. This is so fine by us because the Diggersby is at a type disadvantage matchup. We're going to be able to fire off an Aqua Tail at the Diggersby, and now they're going to fire off a Scorching Sands here. I'm just going to put up my shield. I don't want to take this damage right now, and unfortunately, they get the Scorching Sands debuff, and I think it matters. We are now doubled up on the Aqua Tails here, and Aqua Tail will nearly pick up the knockout, and I really think that Scorching Sands debuff mattered there. Nevertheless, we're going to let this second Scorching Sands go, and now they're going to bring back in the Charjabug. We switch into the Gyarados to catch the very obvious X-Scissor there. Trying to get rid of our Quagsire, but we know our Quagsire is the win con in this particular game. They're going to be able to land a Volt Switch that does massive damage onto the Gyarados, but Gyarados is able to make a last-second Aqua Tail here. They know they cannot shield that, and now this gets tricky. If I bait them with an Aqua Tail here, and I don't grab their shield, I will lose this game, so I am just sending it. I'm clicking my Stone Edge button, boys. If there's one thing I know what to do, it's nuke the opposing Charjabug, and now back in comes the Diggersby. Our Quagsire rapidly running low on HP, but Aqua Tail number 1 will grab the shield from the Diggersby, and we are double cheeked up, and we win CMP over the Diggersby, so that's going to be GG's. Well played. Hopping into the next game, it's going to be Cresselia leading into a Shadow Dragonair. And Shadow Dragonair is a little bit problematic, but honestly, I'm perfectly fine playing this out with Cresselia. I can at the very least pick up a knockout on this or get both of their shields, so I'm just going to go straight Moonblast. Baiting here would be a potential way for me to end up losing this matchup, or getting myself from a largely advantageous position into a disadvantageous position. So what you're going to see me do is I'm just going to build up to the Moonblast and just start sending them. Honestly, we can no-shield this move. Cresselia is bulky enough where I can live this Aqua Tail and the Dragon Breath afterward to make another Moonblast, and now they either have to give me both of their shields in the lead matchup or let their Dragonair go down. And the Dragonair player makes a very tough decision, as Dragonair players do not like no-shielding their Dragonairs, as when they do, their Dragonair kind of just explodes. They're going to fire off a Dragon Tail with their Flygon onto my Quagsire. They're going to bring in their Arctibax in the back, so it is a triple Dragon strategy, and I'm going to fire off an Aqua Tail here. But honestly, I'm going to put up a shield. Now that I've baited them successfully, I can land the Stone Edge, and this is my best way of getting rid of this Pokemon. Stone Edge is going to land onto the Arctibax, and Arctibax is going to get one shot removed from the field of play, and now they're going to bring in the Flygon. We're unable to make that Aqua Tail there, and that complicates things quite a bit. We're going to bring in the Gyarados here, looking for the catch of the Dragon Claw, but no catch is going to happen today. But now, this is going to be tough. Are we going to be able to live that Dragon Claw? Just barely. And now the Dragon Tail pressure. We're able to get the farm down at the last possible second. GG's. Did somebody say fast move pressure? I think somebody said fast move pressure. It's going to be Cresselia leading into a non-Shadow Pidgeot in the next game. And if there's one thing non-Shadow Pidgeot loves, it is Feather Dance. These Pokemon are specifically, like, it's almost in their DNA to run Feather Dance Brave Bird. I'm going to No Shield expecting a Feather Dance here. They're going to Brave Bird me, and now likely going to switch out. They switch out into a Litleo, but Litleo's going to be quickly met with a Quagsire. And Quagsire going to fire off a move here onto Litleo. Litleo is going to No Shield, does a lot of damage. This is a very spicy Pokemon, by the way. If you do run Cresselia, I recommend running two things that can counter fire types, because Cresselia is entirely walled by fire types, and Talonflame is a very real threat in this meta. Nevertheless, we are going to bring in the Quagsire, fire off an Aqua Tail, and this could potentially be a Stone Edge, so they are going to respect it with a shield, and I'm going for the double Aqua Tail play here. The reason being is because I prefer having this chip damage on the Pidgeot so that I can maneuver around it a little easier than just potentiating a one-shot that they're probably going to shield because they're on Feather Dance. I'm going to bring in my Gyarados, showing third, and they actually continue to build up their energy. I was really looking for a catch onto the Cresselia there. That may have solidified the game. We are able to land a Grass Knot on that Pidgeot, but that wasn't enough to KO. They switched out there, and they bring in a Girafarig. But this Girafarig is going to be very upset that we were able to make a move at the very last second. That Grass Knot does half of the Girafarig's health. And now they're going to fire off a Psychic Fangs onto the Gyarados, but Gyarados is going to commit to the full farm down of the Girafarig, leaving with the move, and Pidgeot will never win this CMP tie, so we are going to fire off an Aqua Tail, picking up the KO on the Pidgeot. GG's to this trainer. In the next match, it's going to be Cresselia leading into a Shadow Marowak, and Shadow Marowak is a very fun-looking Pokemon. I really wish I had one of these for myself. Niantic really needed to put these in the recent Team Go Rocket update, but they just decided not to for some reason, even though everybody was asking for it. I don't know what to say about that one. They're going to no-shield our first Grass Knot, and now we can comfortably no-shield their move in return. They are approaching Double Bone Club here, but I'm just going to fire off a second Grass Knot here, and I can grab that first shield from the Shadow Marowak. I don't have to shield anything. I bring in the Gyarados, looking to catch that Bone Club here. Do not recommend save switching Gyarados because this is what happens. You get aligned onto a Dunsparce, and this isn't a very fun experience for the Gyarados. We're going to fire off an Aqua Tail. It will do a lot of damage onto the Dunsparce, however. And now they are going to overfarm a massive amount. They're, I believe, at the back-to-back moves here, so I'm just going to no-shield. There's really no point in trying to keep the Gyarados preserved there. I'm going to bring in the Quagsire, and this is a miserable matchup for the Dunsparce. We're going to actually shield up a Drill Run, and that's probably for very good reason, because they're going to be able to make another move here. I think we can comfortably no-shield this one, and now, yeah, Drill Run, going to get no-shielded. They bring back in the Marowak, and we're just going to shield up once again. I'm committing to this Quagsire being my win con because they brought in the low HP Marowak into the Quagsire, which is giving signs that they may not be very strong. It's a Quagsire in the back. Bone Club is going to knock out our Cresselia, but now we have a Dugong in the back, and there are no shields remaining on either side, so this Stone Edge is going to do massive damage onto the Dugong. We're going to overfarm as much as humanly possible, fire off this Aqua Tail, and this Aqua Tail needs to pick up this knockout on this Dugong. Will it be enough? They're going to commit the shield one more, and the Aqua Tail is going to solidify this Dugong's fate, at least hopefully. Indeed it is. Down goes the Dugong, in comes the Dunsparce, but they're not going to roll out us down. GG's to this trainer. I started the recording too late. It's going to be Cresselia leading into Walrein, and they safe switch a Primeape. Interesting to safe switch a Primeape into a Cresselia, but Primeape is just such a menace. It can get ramped up so quickly with these Rage Fists that probably not a bad play. So we are going to fire off a Grass Knot onto the Primeape, forcing that first shield, and now we're just going to bring in our Gyarados. I believe from here I could have no-shielded, but I am going to look to shield up the Gyarados to guarantee that we can get this Aqua Tail off and either KO this Primeape, which would be very bad for the rest of our team to see, or land substantial damage onto it. They're going to look to overfarm quite a bit, and this, I believe it to be an actual misplay by this trainer. And the reason being is because, yes, they are able to KO with a Rage Fist there, but now we can just shield and get rid of this Pokemon that was a very big problem for the rest of our team. In comes our Quagsire. This can be enough for a close combat, but even a double boosted Rage Fist would absolutely blast us, so we are going to put up a shield on that close combat. And now, let's see what they want to bring in. Quagsire does have a 2 mudshot head start. It's going to be the Wall Rain getting brought back in. They're going to fire off a move here. This is enough for the Icicle Spear. They switched immediately, but that was only 5, so we're very comfortable with taking that damage and building up to the Stone Edge. Stone Edge would do a massive amount of damage onto the Wall Rain, and Wall Rain just gets straight up nearly one-shot, and it's going to be an Annihilate in the back, but Annihilate is not going to be too happy about the fact that Cresselia is going to come back in, and Cresselia is easily able to tank a Rage Fist from this range. They would have had to build up to a potential Shadow Ball, but that wasn't enough. It's a Rage Fist. Rage Fist not going to be enough to KO. We're going to overfarm for absolutely no reason. Then Grass Knot again for absolutely no reason. Grass Knot doesn't pick up the KO, but when Wall Rain comes back in, one fast move will do it in. GG's to this trainer. In the next game, it's going to be Cresselia leading into a Dunsparce, and we're very comfortable with seeing this Pokemon here. And the reason being is that Cresselia is fairly neutral into this Pokemon. They're going to be able to fire off a Drill Run, but look at that baby boy damage, absolutely tanked by the Cresselia. We're going to fire off a Moonblast in return. And now it's our turn to do a little bit of baby boy damage ourselves. Moonblast not going to be doing a whole lot to the Dunsparce here. But the fact that they want to stay in and play this out is so fine by us. We're going to build up to another Moonblast and send it at this Dunsparce. And now, we are going to get them quite low. But I want to preserve this Cresselia for later in case it has use. So you're going to see me switch out into the Gyarados and get the catch and sneak of a Dragon Breath. And we catch the Drill Run. They're going to bring in an Oranguru, and Oranguru is a little bit of a problem here. We're going to fire off a Crunch here. Crunch would do a massive amount of damage onto the Oranguru, nearly one-shotting it if they decide to let it go. They are going to shield it up, and the debuff comes through, so we get the Oranguru very, very low. And now, here I'm just going to bring in my Cresselia, looking to sponge this energy because they have a lot of it. Unfortunately, we get one turn bring in, but the plan was the same with the Cresselia regardless, and they threw instantly, so even if we had energy, the Oranguru would have won CMP. So one turn bring in, annoying, and Niantic needs to fix it, but it didn't impact that particular matchup. In comes a Medicham, but this Medicham's on counter. And counter means that we have a little bit of play here. Unfortunately, they have a lot more fast move pressure than we're comfortable with, but they pace very slowly to their charge moves. So I am going to shield up this Ice Punch, and now we're going to look to fire off double Aqua Tails at this Medicham. Unfortunately, Medicham is outside of double Aqua Tail range. Well, they are in double Aqua Tail range, but they have a shield. And unfortunately, they're going to be able to make a nice punch here, and this may very well KO. It just barely does not, and we are going to be able to get the double Aqua Tail here, but they just have a shield. They have 3 Pokemon alive. In comes the Dunsparce. We're able to get this last second Aqua Tail off, but realistically, they just let that go as well. In comes the Oranguru. We try to transfer here. We're doing everything we can to try to win this game, but unfortunately, Oranguru has a shield. We don't have a move here. We got one turn bring it again, but we didn't have the energy for a move there anyway, so GG's to this trainer. In the next game, Cresselia is going to lead into an Arctibax, and Cresselia does fine into these fast move pressure Pokemon like the Dragon types, and they're going to safe switch a Charjabug, but Charjabug doesn't realize that it would have so much more play if it was on either opposite ends of our team right now, but since they have it as the safe switch, it gets answered very swiftly by the Quagsire, and Quagsire just going to fire off the Stone Edge. No real reason to bait there. They call it, and they just let their poor Charjabug go down. Like I said, if they knew what the rest of our team was, they may not have made that decision. We're going to fire off an Aqua Tail here. I really would have wanted to commit to the Stone Edge here, but at the time I was feared that I would get Dragon Breath down. It would have been very close, but I think I would have just made it, which is unfortunately a play that we have to make. Either I was terrified of just like letting the Arctibax farm me down and have infinite energy without even forcing their last shield. So I decided to settle for the Aqua Tail there, but it's not enough chip to really justify that play. Nevertheless, they're going to bring in a Sucker Punch Ferret, and our Cresselia is committing to the double Moonblast here, but now that our defense is debuffed, I don't want to take debuffed Sucker Punches, so we're going to bring in the Gyarados here, and now, this is going to be a Brick Break. It's going to suck, but I'm going to have to shield it. The Brick Break gets shielded, they bring in the Arctibax, and here I'm going to make another crucial misplay. I could have won this game a million different ways, and I played into every lose con. I decide to go for the farm down of the Arctibax here, but they're able to make a last second Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw, picking up the KO on our Gyarados. We get the farm down, but we would need to get back-to-back moves, and honestly, if they make a move here, we're cooked. This is going to be the Dig, and Dig did get nerfed, but it's going to be enough to KO the Cresselia. GG's to this trainer. In the final game of the video, Cresselia is going to lead into an Altaria, and Altaria is going to be put on Fraud Watch immediately by Cresselia here, as this Pokemon just does not have the damage output. I don't have any faith in Altaria, like, ever. I haven't had faith in Altaria in, like, the last 5 seasons, and people have found a way to try to run it in every single season. Please stop. Altaria is a bad Pokemon. Don't do it to yourself. Anyway, Altaria is going to fire off a Sky Attack that does next to nothing, and we're going to be able to build up almost 2 back-to-back Grass Knots there, fire off the Moonblast. We have a lot of energy on the Cresselia, down goes the Altaria, and we just have an energy advantage, and we've won lead. They're going to bring in an Oranguru, and now we're just going to fire off a Grass Knot. I think we can look to build up to another move here and force them to throw their energy. I'm actually going to look to pivot out into the Quagsire. They have enough for a Trailblaze, so we will always shield this move. They will also always Trailblaze here, except for this guy apparently, because he's going to go for the Brutal Swing. And now we're going to fire off a Stone Edge. A Stone Edge is necessary to KO this Oranguru here. Let's see what it is they want to do. They're actually going to commit the shield on the Oranguru and fire off a move onto the Quagsire. But now, this is okay. We should be able to outpace because they go for the Trailblaze there. I'm going to fire off an Aqua Tail. They decide to switch out into the Dunsparce, but we unfortunately miss time as well. They're going to be hit with an Aqua Tail here. I think I have to under-tap this in order to get this energy off, and I do under-tap to get the energy off. Aqua Tail on the CMP tie will do a lot of damage onto the Dunsparce. I really can't afford to let this Dunsparce see the Gyarados currently, as it is far too healthy. So we are going to likely bring in the Cresselia, looking to grab that last shield. We actually bring in the Gyarados, and now going for the catch onto the Cresselia. Did they react in time? That was a pretty mistimed catch. They did still go for the Rock Slide. This guy's got worse reactions than me. I'm going to be able to build up to the Grass Knot. Grass Knot is actually threatening 2 Oranguru from this range. They're going to shield it up, and now it's all up to Gyarados. Gyarados is going to have to clutch up in a major way here. They're going to fire off the Trailblaze. Big damage onto the very glassy Gyarados. Confusion not going to be enough. That second Confusion doesn't register, and so we have an Aqua Tail loaded for the Dunsparce. GG's to this trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me, and so too does all your guys' support. We recently hit 500 subscribers on the channel, and that is honestly a mind-blowing number for me. I won't give you guys too much with the sappy YouTuber nonsense, but I don't even know 500 people, so the fact that I'm able to entertain 500 people, and you guys all consistently interact with and like and share the videos, it really means a lot to me that what I'm doing is meaningful to some of you guys. All that being said though, thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys again next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.